we are continuing our story for page 193. Now go back to the first slide and draw another diagonal that is parallel to the first diagonal. Where this line crosses the track as where we place the third tie. We simply repeat this process for the rest of the track. 1 point perspective show object head-on axis on the box show. We cannot see the side of it. If we shift the camera to the side, lens now coverage 2 vanishing point in this book show him 2 vanishing point perspective, the horizon at the leg level. The placement of 2 vanishing point is very important because it determines whenever the view is wide angle or teleporto. The wider the point, there are apart teleporto they appear. Here is the vanishing point are giving a wide angle view. Each type gives a very different feeling of space. The wide angle creates the expand space while the teleporto lens flattens out the space. If we move closer to the ground plane, we have a moose eye view. Low angle are very dynamic, creating a lot of diagonal. A bird eye view is great for showing a location. Everything is clear visible, but the image feels emotionally detached. We are above it. As we move object in the space, some will be higher and the other lower of our eye lines. We resend them to all the same horizon whenever we have choose to place it. 3 point perspective create the deepest space. The third point vanishing either very high or low. It's the effect of looking it up at tall building or down from one. Object oriented different, each have their own vanishing point on those horizon. What happens when we are multiple ground level? Each plane has its own vanishing point. One difficult that the artist face is how to place figure in the skin so that they are in a correct proportion and perspective. The horizon cuts all figure are equal. Height standing on the same good plane at the same place on the body, regardless of how near or far away they are. Here all the figures line up along their eye line. Here all the figures are correctly lined up at the knee eye level. Figures that are lower than the horizon are each the same relative distance from the horizon. Let's listen to see how Skystable is tracing with Gu. As he lost remember things we are not looking up for him, in fact quite the opposite. What has Skystable gotten herself into? What is the key for? What secret will she unlock? Will curiosity kill the cat? Skystable's uncasing hand continue in toss. Skystable draw with the new energy and hold up the first drawing for the night. Gu watched the shadow it circle upon him. Hermit, will not bored? What are you going in my bull tribe? And you're not a dragon? Dragon? There's no dragon down here. I'm Gu, and who are you? Watch what I can do. I need to get out. You got a bigger one of those? The whole I will rise up. She hold up the next giant. The Sultan is relieved that Gu is alright. Will Gu get out? Is a long way up. Cannot say, I never tried this way. Hermit, I'm ready. Gu said goodbye. Gu remembers to send me a rope or a postcard. No, drop a line. Get it? Drop a line. Countdown 199, 98. Go start at 10. 3, 2, 1, let's go fly! Smash! The hermit cringed. Go land to the carven door. The hermit ran over and... Nice to meet you. I don't get many visitors. That's a good one. The storytelling ends for the night. Skystable desires to know more about the Sultan. Why does he act like he does? What happened to change him? And where are all of his other brides? Skystable cannot contain her question and she takes action. What to use, teleporto or wide angle lens? Let's compare how a camera moves with a teleporto lens and a wide angle lens and see why you would use one over another. Teleporto characteristic. Little distortion used for a beauty shot, flat in space. Narrow depth of field, vertical and horizontal remain neutral, bring distant object near. Wide angle characteristic. At fish eye wideness, extreme distortion, unflattened face, expand space, deep depth of field, vertical and horizontal shift to create dynamic diagonal. Teleporto lens tuck in. Teleporter lens have a narrow depth of field and very little distortion. When the teleporter lens stuck in the image, they are relatively similar, only getting closer. Notice how there are narrow range of object in focus. In a track camera, actually move closer to the object where it is zoom in. The camera stay in the place but the lens focus on a smaller area. Wide angle lenses have very wide depth of field. As we move with wide angle lens, we start to notice a lot of change in the frame. We also experience a distortion as the lens dramatically pulls apart the space. This is great for action movie. How to use framing to tell a story. In a Fantasia 2000 poem and circumstances which I direct, we had trouble with the idea that Donald and Daisy keep just missing running each other. We tried showing them far apart on opposite side of the arc, with Donald on the top of the egg and Daisy below. It was researching speaking problem of trying to say more than the idea at the time. You didn't know where to look. What we realized was that these were near misses, not far misses. The character has to be the same spot on the screen, but something kept getting in their way of seeing each other. This made it fun for the audience to watch. The following example demonstrates the problem of too much happiness in a shot. Donald Duck was looking for Daisy Duck while Daisy was entering the arc without seeing Donald or him seeing her. The animation director, Handel Botut, came up with a very elegant solution by using camera framing to show only what we wish the audience to see. The interior red frame represents what the audience got to see. The rest remain off screen. The first, Donald Duck come out to the arc door friendly looking for Daisy. Donald climbed up to the elephant and excited the frame, just as Daisy entered the frame from the other side. We are showing one thing at a time. Motion of entrance into frame catch the viewer eyes. Daisy walked ahead of the elephant. Just as Daisy exits the frame, Donald jumped to the elephant and re-entering the frame. Again, focus only one thing at a time. Now we cut close-up of Donald looking for Daisy. His head obscured the fact that Daisy is entering the arc. They have just missed each other. If only he would have turned around. Back to our story, Sogu is stuck, but at least he is alive. But why has Katsable stolen the Sultan key? Observe how perspective is used in the palace scheme. Later that night, Katsable showed her sister the key. What are you thinking? Katsable, Joe, I know what you are. You want to understand the mind of the Sultan, but I don't want you to die doing so. Katsable sneaked out of her room. Katsable, wait. Your plan is working. The Sultan is falling for your story, and he's falling for you. This is dangerous. You gotta stop. I'm serious. You could both be killed. They heard a sound and turned. There is nothing there. They continue on. Are you sure you want to do this? Please, let's go back now. Katsable put the key into the lock. Click. The Xanad number soon looked around. The doors stopped opening streamlight into the pitch black. Katsable lighted a candle and the sun at the step. Katsable stopped dead at what he see. The catacomb is filled with tombstone. Terror filled her eyes. Denzana walked over to one. She dozed off and read. It's our friend Dawn. She is dated the day after her wedding to the Sultan last year. Denzana broke down crying. Katsable sighed back in tears. She tried to comfort her sister. Denzana looked up. As a new emotion filled her sister, rage, she began to draw. Katsable hops up drawing. Cannot believe what she is suggesting. Katsable held the drawing up to the candle and let off it fall, burning on the floor. Katsable is overconfident and her curiosity about the Sultan has driven the story into a new direction. This is turning point. She starts out seeking understanding but find more of what she bargained for. The pendulum has swung back to fear. Katsable now know the truth about the Sultan prefers but what did she draw? Cam mobility. With new computer graphics, the camera is no longer bound to the earth. It can swing along with Spider-Man. But as Spider-Man might point out, With the freedom of camera movement comes great responsibility. You can create great excitement with camera movement. Just remember, the enemy of a good design, too much camera movement can be confusing, and if your audience is confused, then boredom is not far away. Don't be turned by the dark side of technology. Just because you can do a 3600-degree spin with the camera doesn't mean you should. Don't let the camera work break the threshold of awareness. Actually, this was used to comic each effect in Mel Brooks' High Anxiety. As a tribute to Hitchcock's camera work, the camera took an ominous present and easily tucked into a large picture window. The camera hit the glass, causing the actor to notice it. The camera then simply backed away. I'm using ominous and shapeless to describe the camera because that is how it felt in one shot. The camera has expansive power. In the next example for Fantasy 2000 Pirates of Rome, the camera checks off a floating of flying wheels as they first head over the horizon toward us. Then the camera rotates to check them as they fly overhead, and rotate again as they fly away from us in the sunset. It made for a very dramatical shot that put the viewer in the middle of the action. Alternative approach. Perspective drawing is a projection system that demands out of the view in the point in space. There are actually several types of projection systems, including classical perspective, oblique projection, and orthogonal perspective. The problem has with the classical perspective that we have been demonstrating is that it's the best suited for rectangle. Author John Willis in The Art of Representation does an excellent job analyzing and demonstrating the various methods of representing the three-dimensional world in two-dimensional picture, caricature, children drawing, map, and projection. Typical observation is based upon the most elementary on general type of spatial qualities, which include relations like touching, separateness, perspective in projective projection, and true scale, size, shape of a face. Perceived and horizontal project are not perceived in topological transformation. I'd like to show you another way to plan a picture that art director Bill Parker taught me. The idea is to spread out simple layers on a depth kind of like stage frights. There in a background, possible multiple layers in midground and a foreground. It turned out that exactly what Walt Disney Studio did with their multiple camera. This was a special type of animation camera used to create the illusion of depth with a flat animation. When the camera panned object in the foreground, it moved by faster than in the foreground, thus creating the illusion of depth. It also allowed the depth to fill illusion whenever one zone depth is loose focus in the rest of the blur. If you plan to keep your value range of color within those allowed for the layer, you can create atmospheric perspective and achieve a great illusion of depth. The foreground will contain your greatest contrast, say from 95% gray up to white. The midground will contain value from 70% to 15% grays, and the background will have the narrowest value range, perhaps 40% to the 20% gray. Eastern artists have used the approach for centuries. Now, you might think that some of these other approaches are only suitable for animation. However, it watched Bess Luhrmann, Moira Roach, Michael Gordon, Sign of Sleep, or Dave Magellan Mirror Maze will be exposed to new world of spatial possibilities. A trick for planning skin. In his book, Compassion Picture, Donald Way Graham suggests to work out what the placement of figure and the placement of composition from a simple plan first and then approach the drawing skin of staging in the camera. The plane is easy to move with the piece around so that you don't obscure something important when you state things in that. The skin clearly states the two men standing character without obscuring the seated bystander. The tool becomes even more powerful when you realize that you can plan your blocking camera move with a simple arrow. Still know your composition will clearly stage. Proximity. Proximity, or how close we are to something, affect how we feel about it. I am sure you have been around someone who got into your space. You probably felt uncomfortable because they were too close. Well, when watching movie, the audience is keenly sensitive to spatial distance and it's affective how they feel about a certain character. When I have wanted to remind the audience that Scantrable was telling the story but not focus on her but rather the story she was telling, I kept the scene in a wider shot showing the character in the room. This way we really didn't engage in the character at these times. Silhouetting the character by backlighting also contributing to this distracting effect. Alternately, when I wish to follow her action and have the audience engage, I move in closer. Now we feel like we with a friend. In fact, if you move in too close, the audience can feel if they're inside the character too. Proximity is extremely important to skin transition when we wish to transfer the audience attention and involve to another scene. The classic case of the riding off in the sunset scene and the end of a western. The character ride away from us, disengaging our interest until we can no longer see them, and the film is over. Blazing Saddles has a great gag. Based on this ending, the hero has to defeat the bad guy and ride off toward the sunset. They stop after a distance, dismount, and enter a limo. It's funny because it's unexpected, but the limo driving away still performs the function of disengaging us from the character. The engaging aspect of proximity is another reason that every shot needs to be close up of what we want to say of our audience. It's pull them into a story. Point of view, subjective camera. In a point of view shot, the audience assumed that what is shown in the frame is a character point of view. This is often shown as a shot of a character looking, followed by a shoot of what he or she sees. This is known as a shoot reaction shot audience. Composition to allow the audience space. Character need breathing room in the direction they are looking. Don't cramp the edge of the frame. The tone of dumb laugh and SketchUp. Filmmakers use all sorts of tools and models to help them plan and envision their shot in order to create the organic looking tone of the dumb laugh. I built a model of a super sculpture, a wandering model compound available in most craft story. This model drawn of dumb laugh was modeled with super sculpture. It worked like a clay but create fine detail and can be baked in a regular oven. For the Sultan Palace, I used a program called Google SketchUp. It's available for free for Mac and Windows operating system. It makes create architecture three-dimensional model child's play an excellent tool for exploring perspective and camera view. The professional version allows to create animation flying through the skin as well as more modeling looks. Beware of a depth killer. The following lists are these to watch for that can only destroy the illusion of the depth. Interestingly, this can be useful. They often are used in a poster, in a film, and they can be very useful in the design principle of contrast. We can contrast flash scene versus deep space to enhance our visual storytelling. Producer versus deep skin to enhance our visual storytelling. Producer and a film producer Bruce Bock described how to visually change a story using contrast with a design and spatial element in his book, The Visual Story. Lines that are parallel to picture frame will tend to flatten our space. If you ignore size consistently using incorrect sets of objects, it will destroy the illusion of depth and create a surreal effect. Shadow that are black can create a hole in picture. Highlight that go out wet can look pasted on top of a picture. Object that doesn't have the same horizon also kill that. They feel like they doesn't belong in the same picture. Points to remember. Make sure you give your character breathing room. Stage from a simple pen to use arrow like a football play. Use camera movement and framing to help tell story and idea of the time. For beauty shot, use the portrait lens. For dynamic excitement, use wide angle lens to keep maximum movement to the frame. Shoot on a camera axis. Use proximity to determine the level of engagement with the character appropriate for the stage at your film. Watch Lawrence of Arabia for a great exploration of screen plays. This reference is called A Perspective by Lincoln Leslie and William Art and presenting Prince Newton and G. Princeton University Press at 1997. We go to the next chapter, chapter 9. How to make image speak. The hidden power of image. So we have another column, read significance. After a seeing image, we need to read them to see what they really are. A fancy word for clues. I first wrote semiotic in 1980. I have to take a course called Vocabulary the Medial Critic. I thought with its title like this, I had to be boring. Well, I learned not to judge a book by its cover. On this case, a class by its title. This class was most educational, mind-blowing class that I ever taken away. Dr. Alan School